when you talk about debt, right? Some of these companies are very debt laden, and some of these companies are like, you look at Galaxy, they've got almost no debt. Some of the other companies have got quite a lot of debt, and there's different kinds of debt, right? You just mentioned revolving credit lines. Recently, we've seen lots of companies issuing notes, bonds, and you see these companies restructuring debt because obviously the interest rates change. Interest rates are reasonably low right now, like 5.25. People are taking advantage of that. Can you talk a little bit about, like, why would a company go with one form of debt over another and how they restructure debt? And it just seems to me that some of these companies just keep kicking the debt can down the road, just restructuring their debt all the time, which I suppose if there's a good ROI, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? To have, if you're paying 5% for your money and you're getting an ROI of 15, 20, 25%, well, why not carry that debt rather than having equity? What are your comments on that?
Well, one reason to kick the can down the road is you never know when a recession is going to come in, right? And you're not going to be able to get that money. So it's always good to have the debt locked up and to not be looking at a lot of maturities real close. So they're always extending maturities. You've seen it in the gaming business a lot in the last 5 years. But really, it's not just gaming companies, it's anybody else. You can get crushed in a recession. And all of a sudden, when you need money, that's when nobody gives it to you. So when you don't need it, that's the time you got to go borrow the money. And I think most of the gaming companies have been very good at that, and the lenders have been very, very willing to lend to them. Really, it's more of an issue of than the industry in particular, but the kind of the growth cycle you're in. So in the gaming industry, we were in a big growth cycle, right? Up until probably about 2008, we were in 100-year growth across the US and then across Asia in the legal gaming business. So you build a different balance sheet when you're in a growth mode, right? You can borrow cheaply. You don't pay dividends. You reinvest a lot into the company because the reinvestment you can make into your properties has the highest return. Okay, as your company gets more mature, as growth slows down, you get different kind of investors start to look at you, and you start to pay dividends maybe, and you maybe are borrowing to sustain the dividend or operations. You have a certain goal that's your percent of cash created by operations that you will pay out in dividends. So really, any company in any industry there's kind of a life cycle thing, right? If you're a Google right now or an Amazon, you're not paying dividends. When you get to be a more mature company and your investors say, I like to invest that money somewhere else and make a better return, then you want to pay dividends.